In my opinion, the hardest moral choice across any video games that I've ever come across was at the end of Life is Strange. I got quite invested in the game. I really, really loved Chloe. Didn't kiss her though, because it was too much, it was too soon. Didn't kiss her, but did really love her. And you basically have to choose between going back in time and allowing her to die in the toilets, in school, it's very sad, or allowing your town to be just rampaged, ripped apart by a big supernatural storm. Hurricane ball bag, basically, comes across Arcadia Bay, which would obviously kill your ma and your pa and all your family and all your friends, or you could do that, or you could save this one lassie who just seems to always be getting into trouble, getting hit by trains and all sorts of stuff. And it's actually a really hard decision, because you think, oh, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, right? But no, of course I picked with saving the Bay, that's Bay with a Y, of course, and I let Chloe die, but felt like a really, really horrible person. It was a really, really hard decision. I'm still sad about it.
So mine wouldn't be a choice that was given to you as A or B. You weren't given a fork in the road, you can't go this way or go that way. What it is for me is in Fallout 4, which I've got like nearly 150 hours in. And I played through all the base game and stuff and did like God knows how many hours in that, and then I went and bought the season pass and got the DLCs in. And I was most looking forward to playing Nuka World because theme parks. And I did all the missions in Nuka World. I must have been up to about 120 hours at this point. And it reaches the end point of Nuka World. You've done all these quests, you've satisfied all of the different gangs inside the park. And then it's like, hey, we're gonna take this to the Commonwealth and go and like mess everything up. So all this time I've been putting into building various like settlements across the game, because I really bought into that in Fallout. So doing all of that, doing all the side missions and making everyone really happy and all really lovely. And then suddenly it was on the plate of, hey, do you want to finish this DLC? Do you want to complete Nuka World? If you do, let's completely and utterly shag the last 100 hours of your game. And I'm just there like, I get that Preston's a twat. He's an annoying prick. But I don't want to go back and destroy everything I've done. I want to go back to the castle that I've built up like a brick house that no one's ever gonna get into and not be welcomed back in. I don't want that. I feel bad enough when I accidentally shoot one of my own and everyone turns against me and I just run off and come back and everyone's fine, but I won't get that if I do that with Nuka World. So when that raider was like, hey, do you want to be one of us? I just went, no. And it annoyingly means I haven't finished Nuka World because I haven't continued to be a prick. So for me, that was the hardest choice I had of do I put my whole game to complete one DLC, or do I not complete the DLC and keep my progress up to this point? It's hard.
Lack of a completion statistic not killing you?
No, because I've never been a massive 100% person. Like, I know people who just platinum stuff left, right and centre, and I just don't care. I've never been a person to try and get 100%, but I wanted to complete the DLC because I really enjoyed it. So, yeah.
Well, for me, it's got to be the end of Mass Effect 3, and not because they laid the groundwork particularly well or, made me invested in any of the decisions that came in towards the end of that game, but it was the end of one of the greatest sci-fi trilogies of all time, regardless of medium. And so when we went into the end of Mass Effect 3, you were expecting something amazing, and the way that it went was, let's just say, not amazing. And kind of scarred me for life. Mass Effect 3 has one of the worst endings in gaming history. If you look into the way that BioWare put it together, they actually ended up changing the initial ending that they had and went with this other one, and you can tell. And bless those people, bless like Corey Hudson and the rest of the people that were putting the game together. They obviously tried their best, but it just didn't come together. And the amount of weird little elements that they put in at the end to try and make you care and try and make the scope and the scale of what you were doing bigger and more impactful and all that jazz just didn't land. So at the end, after you've talked to the Star Child and you're presented with these three horrific options, which are all as terrible as one another, trying to pick one of them was just like, well, do you want shit for breakfast, or liquid shit for breakfast, or just liquid shit with a few chunks in it for breakfast. I don't want any of them. And so it's just bad. But obviously you still have to do it because you want to know what happens if you do eat the liquid for breakfast, so I did. And then it just shows you different coloured explosions, which is just like in real life and in the game. Either way, it's bad, and you should feel bad if you're still liking it.
So the hardest moral choice in video games that I think needs a mention, and you already know what it is The Witcher 3, and it's chucking the baby in the oven. Do you chuck little baby Aki II into the furnace, or do you hand him off to his crazed, him-infested father? It's not a good choice. It's a weird one at best. Do you trust Ceres, this woman that's running, throwing a baby at you, and put it in an open fire, or do you say, actually, no, I'm not going to burn this tiny, innocent babe that you have put into my hands and deliver it from evil in the... So Ceres comes in and says, here's a baby. Do you chuck it in the open fire? Do you not? You shouldn't, but if you do, the furnace isn't actually lit and there's a secret room at the back where she can fish him out of, and you've effectively tricked this evil demon Heim from leaving Ulrich's body. So that works out as the best option, but it doesn't seem so at first. Like all things in The Witcher, there's some instant terrible thing you've got to do to then get the good thing at the end. So for me, honestly, I didn't actually find it that morally complex. I just chucked it in the oven. I just chucked it in. I said, well, Ceres has got a plan. I'm gonna trust in her. And woof, like a football, bosh. Into the oven. Yeah, so just flung it on in, said, right, the lady's got a plan, we're going to go with this. She fished him out, it was great, I was a hero, the Heim went, and I can recommend it. Make sure there's a secret trapdoor every time though, every time.
The hardest moral choice in video games comes at the end of Nier Automata. After you've done everything in that game, you've completed it 3 times, got all the endings you think, you're thrown one final bullet hell sequence where you have to literally shoot the credits up of the people who made the game, and it's ridiculously hard. There are projectiles all over the screen, and there are moments where you just think it's way too much. But fortunately, you have the sprites and names of other players who have also completed the game who come in and help you, and it's such a glorious moment. The score roses up, and it is lovely. But then when you finish, you get to the end, and the game asks you, do you want to become one of these sprites helpers yourself? But if you do, all your progress gets deleted. Every save game you have in Nier gets deleted, so that means no more playthroughs with your characters, no chance at a platinum unless you want to play it through again. But you do get to become one of these helpers who will eventually help someone else complete the game, or you can just, be selfish, take the completion, and then just play it as you want. But obviously you get to that position and you think, nah, no way, this game is not going to make me delete my save. I've had this before. I've had this in Arkham Asylum where it pretends your game's crashed and you go back to the beginning. It's just a little trick. They're never going to do it. If you've played the original Nier, you know they get damn serious. So it's less of a moral choice and more a game of chicken with the game itself. Like, you just think, oh, it's going to be one big 1-0. Ha, I'll do it, and then I'll get my save back anyway. There's no way they do it, but they goddamn do it, Rich. They goddamn do it. Fortunately, as a selfish boy, I just took the win, took the helpers, because they die, they get killed, their names get blown up. I don't care. They chose that life. I took it, and I was fine with my decision. I could sleep happily at night. I gave it to my friend as a practical joke, essentially. He played through it all. He got to the same point. He thought, no, this is a game of chicken. This is fine. They're never gonna delete my save. He took it, and he said, had I not given him the game, he'd have snapped it. So, make of that what you will. Make of that what you will. Do you want to become a rage-infested monster? Or do you want to live on the burning ashes of the people who helped you? I don't know.
That's a gift right there.
Do you know? I know. Rich? I don't really have tough choices. I'm a man who knows what he wants, and I go and get it. Like, if I walk in the office and I see Josh Brown wearing another terrible shirt, I say, boom, that's a shirt, mate. And I feel happy about it. I just go on my day. I try not to live with the moral consequences that you humans try to go with. So, yeah, if the option is to kill somebody, I'm gonna do it.